For this clip, I'm going to be talking about the Mexican Revolution. So what's the Mexican Revolution? The Mexican Revolution was, a revolution that saw the violent upheaval of the dictator called Porfirio Diaz. He was born on the 15th of September 1830 and died on the 2nd of July 1915. This took place in 1910, around 33 years after the signing of Diaz as the supreme leader of Mexico. So before going to describe the causes of the Mexican Revolution, I would like to state the type of tension which was present. It was known as elite versus masses. So the revolution was between Porfirio Diaz, backed up by the working class, who were known as the elites, and they were facing the masses, who were basically the poor farmers. So what were the economic causes of the Mexican Revolution? They were foreign investment, international intervention, and the decline of worldwide market. Diaz defended his presidency by stating that his political actions were all done in order to make Mexico's economic growth indispensable. He said that all he did was for the well-being of the country. He was forced to stick to liberal principles which included banning corporate landownings, which he deemed useless, decreeing unused land to the average people. Also, a staggering 90% of the business investments in Mexico were privately owned by foreigners from different countries. So because of this, Diaz became really concerned about the welfare of Mexico, so he tended more towards the foreigners. The locals didn't like this at all. In fact, they were really angry, and this triggered the first social cause of the revolution, which was labor protests. The US, as always, being the US, had to put their big heads into every situation, so they placed a tariff on Mexico's sugar exports to their Cuban allies. So what's a tariff? It's, in a sense, a sanction or a tax. So in this case, the US placed a sanction or a tax on the Mexican sugar exports to Cuba. This further strained the relationship Mexico had with the US. A major conflict grew ever rapidly. A major famine took place in 1808 to 1809, which had a big effect on the country. Meanwhile, the world market for silver crashed heavily, and since Mexico relied on its mining industry for its economic growth, so due to this mishap, the economy of Mexico fell heavily. And to top that, the people who gave up their land in exchange for jobs had to go without employment. The decline of the exports by the industries impacted the railroad business as well, since they didn't have anything left to export. But what were the results of the Mexican Revolution? The economic crisis left Diaz in the king of a hill situation, with him standing up on top and the intellectuals and liberals in the bottom, gradually pushing him over and ending his reign, which lasted 34 years. He was eventually ousted from this position. The people who managed to oust Diaz eventually turned on each other, and the whole country went into turmoil. The different parties all started to compete against each other, and these led to a series of assassinations, betrayal, backstabbing, and violence. To make everything short, numerous leaders got hold of the power and eventually was ousted as well, one of whom who was toppled by the US intervention as well. To know more about the results of the Mexican Revolution, be sure to check out my next clip, which will go specifically into the results.